It has taken me several years to figure out how to manage this pantry. The environment, the circumstances of my life up here, all those have factored into figuring out how to best optimize my pantry and store food here. For those who don't know, I live by myself in a cabin up here in the woods in Northern California. I do have neighbors, I do have access to roads, I do have access to grocery stores, but it's still a fairly isolated existence. We have problematic weather here, like in many parts of the country. My road is a dirt road, which sometimes gets compromised by rain, and I live partially off-grid. I do have access to power through PG&E, but we also have many power outages up here. My water is off-grid water, and I have a septic tank. Also, due to weather and all sorts of factors, I can't just run to the grocery store every day and pick up what I need. I have to be kind of prepared. Also, I'm fortunate enough to have guests who come by from time to time, usually unexpectedly. I've had guests who've come by and stayed a while due to fire evacuations or difficulties getting home. So I have to be prepared for that too. Here's how I store my food for optimal usage and for just keeping it at its best. Behind me you can see those yellow straps. That's my first line of defense. They're like bungee cords, but they're flat. I got them at Home Depot. I learned this trick from old hippie homesteader. And they basically wrap around the shelves of my pantry here. It's Amazon metal shelving, and it's only closed in the back where the wall is. So in case of earthquakes or in case I'm getting something out and I knock something over, nothing really can escape the shelving. I store my food basically in 3 places. I have a apartment-sized refrigerator and freezer in the kitchen. I have a small chest freezer out here in the room adjacent to the kitchen, and I have this open shelving. My kitchen is really small. There's almost no cabinet space, so I had to kind of resort to having things in this other room instead of in the cabinets, which is basically dishes and things like that. So far, all of that has worked out pretty well. A freezer actually holds the cold the best, and we've had power outages, and if I just leave the freezer shut and cover it with a blanket or something, it can stay fine for days. The refrigerator, less so, but if we have a blackout, I'll generally take out what I need ahead of time and put it in a little cooler with some ice. I've got extra ice and ice packs in the big freezer, so I can store stuff that way too. And I also believe that the ice packs in the big freezer also help keep it cold in case of a power emergency. I do have many items which are exposed to light, like everything I have that is in the jars up there especially. I keep the light situation under control by not keeping a lot out here in glass jars. I just keep what I'm going to use over the next few months. Stuff like rice and flour and items like that. I have enough for maybe 3 months, and I store the rice and things like that in opaque containers. The extras and flour I store in the freezer. I also use bay leaves in the flour and rice and grains and things like that that I have here in the pantry. I'll just slide a couple in. I have bay trees here on the property, so I have a limitless supply of them. So far, I've been very lucky with not having anything in my grains. I do have plenty of opaque containers down at the bottom. I bought them at Walmart, and I really love them. I have different sizes, some square ones, some big rectangular ones, some long skinny ones, so just about for every need. And I can put extra noodles in there, ramen, cake mixes, all that sort of stuff. It is protected from light, but it's also clear enough, they're kind of translucent, that I can see what's in there. I've been battling rodents here for years. I'm trying to strengthen my house, close holes. I'm getting better screen doors and stuff like that that will make it more difficult for rodents to get in. but this is an old cabin. It's almost 100 years old, so it wasn't built to be a fortress, and you know, just with age and the change of building codes, there's still going to be stuff coming in and out. I live in the forest, so I finally come to the conclusion that the best offense is a good defense. So again, I keep anything that is even the smallest bit attractive to them in closed containers, glass containers with a tight lid, original packaging, like the condiments and things on this shelf, and of course my opaque containers with the tight fitting lids on the bottom. There just can't be anything that's edible. There's certain things that they don't eat, I've noticed, but they will eat through boxes and other stuff. So whatever I've noticed over the years has gotten eaten or munched on, those are no longer out. And I think at this point I've got a pretty good feel for what is edible and what's not going to attract them. I'm still struggling with the amounts that I purchase. I sometimes see a really good deal and I have bought too much of certain things, and that is something I'm going to have to learn to mitigate. The food that I bought too much of, I will eventually eat, and that's not an issue, but it's still a temptation when I see a sale or a good price of something that I use frequently to just buy a lot of it. So that is definitely a problem I think we can all relate to. Sometimes you think you're going to eat a lot of refried beans, and suddenly you don't want to eat refried beans anymore. Or, oh, I'm going to eat a lot of kidney beans in my salad. It's so healthy. Then suddenly, I don't know, I've gone off kidney beans. So I have to be kind of careful. I mean, maybe one or two extra things, but just not to buy in huge volume. There's also the issue of buying stuff that maybe you don't 100% love, but it's a good price, or maybe someone else eats it, or maybe somebody else will eat it. Been there, done that. All I can say, if you don't like it now, you're not going to like it later, or if you're not going to eat it now, you're not going to eat it later. So unless I really, really love it, I'm not going to buy it, and I'm not going to experiment after the initial can or bottle, whatever. Not going to do that. And this leads me to expired food or close to expiring food. I'm trying to handle that situation at this point by, again, being careful about what I buy and the amounts I buy and how much I'm realistically going to eat the things I buy, so that I can go through that food before it expires. Also, inventory management is really critical. I did a pantry cleanup a few months ago. I got some boxes and things from Costco, which has helped me so much. Everything is so much more visible, so I can see what I have. And when you see what you have, you remember that you have it, and it kind of comes top of mind when it's time to do menu planning. So that's how I'm handling my particular challenges up here with this pantry, with the location of pantry, with the circumstances of my life and my living situation, and with my own bad habits. I think we can all agree that pantries are living things. They expand, they contract, they change, they evolve. Gotta be on top of it. So do you have any pantry tips for me? Do you have any pantry challenges? Let's talk about it. I'm all about having things useful and saving money and using what you have, and I think the pantry is a good place to start. Give me tips, give me ideas. We could all learn from them. Thank you so much for watching.